If you enjoy the story, give it a like and feel free to leave a comment. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to be the first to hear new cryptid tales. I'm always looking for stories to share, so if you've had your own encounter with the unknown, send me an email at cryptidtalesmel@gmail.com. The legend of the Boggy Bottom Monster, a swamp-dwelling, Bigfoot-like being, has been around southeastern Oklahoma for generations. Every now and then, locals catch a glimpse of the reddish-brown creature, and tales of the sighting make the rounds. And while plenty of non-believers scoff at the sightings, others are convinced they saw the real deal. That was the case for a Caney resident, Jackie Marlowe, whose sighting frightened her so badly she had to be taken away by ambulance. You can laugh if you want to, but I saw what I saw, and that's exactly what I'd seen, Marlowe said of her July 18th ordeal. I don't know what it was, but it was a tall creature. I'm not going to tell you I saw Bigfoot, but it was a tall, huge thing that walked. Marlowe, 52, was sitting on her porch about 7:50 a.m., smoking a cigarette and gazing at the wooded area past the road on her 2 acres of land. Her home is near Clear Boggy Creek, which, legend has it, is where the creature resides. Suddenly, the dogs next door started barking up a storm, Marlowe said. Then, out of the blue, Marlowe spotted the reddish-brown stranger. Stunned, she recalled standing up and hollering, "Oh my God," a couple times. Her little dog huddled next to her, paralyzed with fear or curiosity, or both. Marlowe stepped off her porch to get a better look. It had very long legs, and it had a head, she said. People asked, "Does it have hair?" And I don't know. I just know that it was a big, reddish-brown tall thing, and it scared the fire out of me. Some who heard Marlowe's story suggested she saw a bear or a cow. The area has plenty of turkeys, hogs, bobcats, and assorted wild animals. It was not no animal. It was not no cow. It had 2 legs, Marlowe stressed. It had the longest legs, and it walked. It took 2 or 3 steps, and that's how I could see how long the legs were. Marlowe estimated her encounter lasted a full 3 minutes. She recalled the creature snorting loudly before it vanished. Marlowe immediately started calling folks, and the more she talked, the more excited she got. Finally, she had a panic attack and called an ambulance for help. Police officers also arrived and rode the area on 4-wheelers in search of the creature. They found nothing, but later Marlowe said part of the chain-link fence was bent in a way that no human hand could have done. Atoka County Emergency Management Director, Tracy Walker, recalled the ordeal and said Marlowe was treated and released. Walker said she's heard of the Boggy Bottom Monster since she was a child, but never heard of it sending someone to the hospital until now. We pick up a lot of people for different things, some more unusual than others, Walker said, but that's the first for a Bigfoot sighting. Still, Marlowe isn't the first in recent weeks to see the creature. A few days before Marlowe's sighting, 2 teens riding 4-wheelers along Clear Boggy Creek also saw a similar monster lurking about. Morgan Whatley, 13, was the first to see the creature. Like Marlowe's description, she said it had reddish-brown hair with long legs and arms. Everybody's calling it a Bigfoot, and some people think it's a bear. I think it was too tall to be a bear, Morgan said. I've heard a bunch of stories. When we first moved here, people would say, "Watch out for the Boggy Bottom Monster," and stuff like that. I thought they was just messing around trying to scare us. By the time Morgan turned to her 12-year-old brother to point out the creature, it was gone. Garrett Whatley didn't believe his sister's sighting until he saw it himself. "We heard more noises, so we both got scared and started to leave," Garrett Whatley said. "We started pulling off where we were parked, and off to the side was a little clearing trail, and it was off running over there. The siblings ran home scared and reported the drama. Their father didn't believe their story, but their mother believed them. I don't believe it's a Bigfoot, but I believe there's something out there, Tracy Watley said. My kids were pretty scared when they came home. It's a legend here like it is anywhere else. People occasionally see things they can't explain, and a lot of times that's what it gets chalked up to, Walker said. Whether you thought it was true or not, if you were sitting out in the woods, it was enough to scare you. These both took place near a town I grew up in northern Pennsylvania. My girlfriend, myself, and my Rottweiler named Princess were camping out in the woods near a little airport not far from home. It was just us, nobody else, so we had nothing to worry about. Our first night, we walked around and watched planes come in and take off. We made a fire, had dinner, and got ready for bed. I had told my girlfriend I was going to take Princess for a walk before we laid down for the night. She hopped up and said she wanted to go along, so off we went. As we walked Princess, she kept wanting to turn around and go back to camp. Since this was a new and different environment for her, I never thought anything about it and continued our walk. Princess finally relaxed and did her business. We made our way back to camp and crawled into our tent for the night. I was awakened by the sound of Princess growling at something. It wasn't a loud growl, so again, I didn't think anything of it. I told her it was okay and to go back to sleep. She laid her head down, and soon I was back asleep as well. When we woke up, it was daylight. My girlfriend asked me why I kept poking her in the back during the night. I didn't remember doing it, and assumed she either imagined it, or maybe it was just the wind beating against the side of the tent. We left camp to go visit my dad and grab breakfast along with some food for dinner later on that night. The second night, we parked our car next to the tent. After we got settled in and laid down for the night, we realized that the woods had gone totally silent. Sure, you could hear cars from the road off in the distance, but not a single cricket was chirping, or anything else for that matter. Just complete silence. We were laying there talking, and Princess was in her spot at the door of the tent. Suddenly her ears perked up, and her hair from her head to her nub was standing straight up. She was growling a little louder than the previous night, and my girlfriend said she thought she heard somebody or something walking towards the tent. I made the choice to move us all to the car for the night without any hesitation. I didn't think we were in danger, but I was a little spooked and didn't want to take any chances. Her and Princess had made their way to the car, and I handed her the keys to unlock the door. As she handed the keys back to me, something just didn't feel right. The thought popped in my head that I had a small gun in the car, but hoped I wouldn't have to use it. I told her to get Princess in the car first, and then to get in slowly. If something was out there, I didn't want to act spooked by it. As she got in, I looked past where she had been standing, probably about 30 feet behind her. I could see it, but I'm not sure what it was. I'm 6'2", and this thing was tall. I grabbed the gun and fired a couple shots to scare it away, whatever it was, and it left. We didn't leave, but we stayed in the car the entire night. It was a long night, but we did manage to eventually fall asleep. The next morning, we got up and took Princess out for a walk. As we walked around, we spotted what looked like a handprint on the back of the car. This handprint looked like any human handprint you might imagine, but it was bigger than my own and much wider. It was probably almost 6 inches wide and 10 inches long. After seeing that, we made the decision to pack up our tent and go somewhere else. We explained what had happened, including the handprint, to my dad. He said to leave it be, whatever it was, and that's exactly what we did. Another time, I had just got a new truck, so me and my girlfriend went out to take it for a ride. This was a different area, about 1.5 miles from my dad's place. We had backed down an old access road to a bridge that had been torn down after a tornado had destroyed most of it. We had Princess with us, and were walking her near the bank of the creek. We both got an uneasy feeling that someone or something was watching us. Suddenly, and without warning, we heard what I could only describe as what sounded like a tree crashing into the creek. But when I turned my flashlight on in the direction of the sound, all we saw was a huge rock, about 4 feet wide and 5 feet long, laying in the sand just a few feet away from us. Then we heard something else crashing through the water. Within maybe 5 minutes, the whole thing was gone and over with. We got the dog and headed back to the truck to return to my dad's. Well, as we backed up and got turned in the right direction, the beam of my headlights caught a creature that was standing on 2 feet. It had dark cinnamon-colored hair and was at least 8 feet tall. And as the lights hit it, it turned its body away from them. With one step, it was off the road and gone into the woods. We didn't tell my dad about that encounter, and we never went back to either spot ever again.